Hare Krishna. Welcome back to my channel. I am Radhika Piyari and today I am going to share with you the glories of Kamada Ekadashi. Sri Sutta Goswami said that, O sages, I offer my humble and respectful obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the son of Vasudev and Devaki, and by whose mercy I am able to describe about this Ekadashi, which is known to remove all kinds of sins. It was to the devoted Yudhishthir that this 24 primary Ekadashis were described by Sri Krishna. Sri Yudhishthir Maharaj asked Lord Sri Krishna that, Hey Janardhan, please explain to me the glories of this Ekadashi, which falls during the light fortnight of the month of Chaitra, March, April. Please explain to me what is the glories of this particular Ekadashi. Lord Sri Krishna responded to Yudhishthir Maharaj that, Hey Yudhishthir, this particular Ekadashi is known to remove all kinds of sins and also fulfill the innermost desires of a person's heart. The glories of this Ekadashi was described by sage Vashishta to King Dilipa, who is the great grandfather of Lord Ramachandra. So King Dilipa asked Vashishta Muni that, Hey sage, that please explain to me the glories of this Ekadashi, which is known to eradicate all the sinful reactions from one's past activities. This particular Ekadashi, which falls during the light fortnight of the month of Chaitra, please explain to me its glories. Vashishta Muni said to King Dilipa that, Hey king, this particular inquiry of you is going to be beneficial to all the mankind. And also this particular Ekadashi is known to consume all the sins. Like how a forest fire consumes all the supply of dry firewood. So there is an ancient narration connected to this particular Ekadashi. There once happened to be a state named as Ratnapura, and the king who ruled this particular kingdom was King Pundarika. In this particular kingdom, even the sharp-fanged snakes, they had the privilege to enjoy intoxication. This kingdom was decorated with lots of golds and jewels. Also, this kingdom numbered Kinnaras, Gandharvas, Apsaras, and many celestial beings. Now, there was a Gandharva and his wife named Lalit and Lalita. They were actually one of the finest dancers and singers of the assembly of the king. They both were husband and wife and very, very attracted to one another. So, Lalita, she loved her husband dearly, and Lalit was constantly thinking about his wife because he was so attracted towards her. So they would always perform in the assembly of king. But one time what happened, there was an assembly of the king where Lalita was not present and Lalit was performing for the king. Now because Lalita wasn't there, he had his mind on his wife, and while thinking of his wife, he was singing for the king. While he was singing for the king, he actually lost the meter and the melody in the end while finishing the song. Now the snake which was there, attending the assembly of the king, he recognized that and he went and whispered into the ears of the king. The king became very, very offended after hearing that. He just became so angry that his eyes turned like copper red. And then he stood up and he, in front of Lalit, he said that, What you did, you think that I do not recognize it? I came to know that you have missed the melody and in your mind you are thinking about your wife while you are attending to your king's needs. Because you have done this and you have not fulfilled the duty which you were supposed to towards your king, I curse you to become a cannibal. So cannibal is actually a man eater, and usually the cannibals have very, very ferocious form in the past during that time. So what happens is that as soon as he gets the curse, Lalit gets a curse, his body transforms from a Gandharva to an ugly and a ferocious, like a very horrible looking demon. And his arms are like certain miles long, face has all these kind of patches, and his teeth become like very like gruesomely like horrifying look he develops. And Nalita actually sees that and she gets scared. But because she loves him so dearly, she actually follows him. So now he is in this sinful form and he is also committing sinful activities because as a cannibal you have to eat another human beings, and you have to eat like flesh. There is that. So this kind of sinful activity. So she is accompanying him, and he's kind of demoted down, and then they're wandering in the forest, and she is fearful, and at the same time she's following him, and she's overwhelmed with grief because she's supposed to actually enjoy the life of a Gandharva, but now here she is with her cursed husband roaming around in the forest and witnessing all the sinful activities which her husband is kind of ordained to do. So while all the scenario is happening, she happens to come across the ashram of sage Shringi. He is actually meditating on the peak of Vindhyachal hill, and there she comes across and she feels so blessed, and she offers her respects to the sage, and she is very sad in front of him. So the sage actually sees that and her humble um, approach, and then he asks her what happened. So she, being overwhelmed by grief, she actually says to the sage what all happened, and she describes that how she has been terrified of the form of her husband, and also overwhelmed with grief that how he is suffering, and also she cannot see him in this form. So now the sage actually tells her that there is a way that this curse can be removed. So she actually asks him that any kind of pious or any kind of piety which she can do, because her husband cannot do it, if she can perform, through which she can actually give those merits to her husband. So Sheshringi says to Lalita that there is an Ekadashi which is coming up in this month of Chaitra, and it is called as Kamada Ekadashi, where any kind of desire which she has, that can be fulfilled. So it needs to be performed as per the rules and regulations properly, and that merit which she will get after performing this Ekadashi, she can give those merit to her husband to get him rid of that curse. So after hearing this, she becomes very overjoyed, and she decides to perform this Ekadashi as per the rules and regulations which Sei Shringi has instructed her to. So she performs the Ekadashi, and the next day when it is Dwadashi, she comes in front of the sage and also in front of the deity of Supreme Personality of Power Shri Krishna or Vishnu, and she actually says to the deity that I am giving my credit, which actually I got from performing this fast, to my husband. So as soon as she says that, the cannibalistic form which the husband has, Lalit, he actually is disappears, and he goes back to his Gandharva form. So seeing that, they both are overjoyed, and not just that, after doing, because of this merit of this particular fast, they become eligible to enjoy more in the heavenly realm. So they board the heavenly plane, and they ascend back to the heavens. Lord Shri Krishna continued that, hey Yudhishthir, anyone who hears the narration of this Kamada Ekadashi should try to perform this Ekadashi to the best of their ability, because this Ekadashi is known to remove all kind of sins and also fulfill the desires. Also, on performance of this Ekadashi, it is so great that the sin of killing a Brahmana or any kind of demonic curses a person has, or any kind of consciousness which is degraded, that get cleansed also. So that is how glorious this particular Ekadashi is. So thus ends the glories of Kamada Ekadashi, hoping and praying that we all perform it to the best of our ability, chant and remember Lord Sri Hari, and make our life successful. Thank you so much for watching. Hare Krishna.